in my pursuit of living as intentional as I can and with the recent inspiration from Thoreau as deliberately as I can with the new year, with 2026, I made a decision when it comes to eating. I decided 2 more rules that I'm going to implement with my eating. I told you how I wanted to eat no processed foods, nothing like that, with the exceptions of, liquid deaths, ancestral type eating, just fruits, veggies, meats, um, things of that nature. No bread unless I make it, etc. Right? But I came up with 2 more rules. One being no visual stimulation while I'm eating. I have exceptions to that where I could read, I could do a puzzle, I could do things of that nature, but I can't sit and watch a YouTube video. I am allowed to listen to a podcast though, but it's eating with great intention and deliberately, right? I want to sit and I want to focus on what I'm eating. I feel when you have this visual stimulation, you're indirectly eating more. You're not even consciously eating. You're just kind of shoveling the food in, right? Because you're preoccupied with something else. I want to think about eating the whole time I'm eating. I want to appreciate the fact that I'm eating good food, that I'm fueling my body with the proper nutrients, that what's the word I'm looking for? That I'm fortunate enough to be eating this good, healthy, hearty, nutritious food and not worried about whatever YouTube video I'm watching or whatever. So that's the first rule, no visual stimulation. Just eat deliberately and be conscious of the act of eating. The second one is I'm not allowed to, the best way I could put this is like prepare another bite before I've finished chewing and swallowing the bite that I've already taken, right? Especially when you're eating with like a fork, spoon, whatever. I've always been in the habit, and I did this unconsciously. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I would take a bite. As I'm chewing, I'm preparing another bite, like stabbing a piece of steak or a potato or, a scoop of ice cream, whatever it may be. And I wasn't eating at a good pace. I was kind of just going crazy, shoveling it in. So I've made a conscious decision that before I prepare the next bite, like today when I ate my first meal of the day around 2 o'clock, I had 2 chicken and like spinach patties, and I had oranges and an apple. As I was cutting the chicken patties up, normally I'd bite, and as I'm chewing, I'm stabbing the next bite. Chewing, stabbing. Now today I deliberately stab a piece, put it in my mouth, chew it, and before I could stab another piece, I have to swallow what I already ate, or what I've already put in my mouth rather. And that really just slowed the pace down, and again, allowed me to consciously be aware of just the activity that I'm engaged in. And I've realized that I filled up a lot quicker. Just 2 little chicken and spinach patties with an orange and an apple. I was like, man, I feel great. I feel full because I slowed the pace down. I allowed my brain and my stomach to be connected. When we're consuming this digital media, the brain is no longer connected to the stomach. The brain is connected to whatever your eyes and your mind are engaging on the screen, right? And you're kind of just bam, bam. It's like riding a bike. You don't even think about it. Just plate or scoop after scoop after scoop after scoop. So I found this to be really effective, and it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I just popped a podcast in and forgot about it, and I just sat there and ate. It took me probably close to 10 minutes to eat that whole meal, which normally that meal would take me fucking 2 minutes. Not even exaggerating, because I'd have those 2 patties done super fast. And with the oranges, I'd take a bite out of the segment of orange, put the rind down, and I'd have to swallow that piece before I grab my next piece. I want to get back to the way we used to eat. I feel like eating used to be sacred. Families would sit at a table, or couples, or whoever it may be, friends. We used to sit at a table. We used to do this thing called breaking bread. You'd sit, eat, you would have conversation, you would laugh, you would discuss things, you would debate, whatever the topics may be. But you used to interact with people, and you were conscious of what you were doing. Now I feel like when we eat, we're just shoveling in copious amounts of unmeasured calories absent of recognition of the activity that we're engaging in. Um, and I think this is due to the fact that our consciousness and just our mind overall is hijacked by the digital media we're viewing. We're all guilty of it. I am too. Back in the day, you sit down to watch a movie or a YouTube video and you're eating chips or whatever it may be, and next thing you know, you're like, holy fuck, I just crushed this whole thing. It's because there's something already stimulating you. Which this sounds contradictory to what I am going into the year thinking, but I don't want to get so much dopamine from the eating, but at the end of the day, no matter what you eat, you're getting dopamine. It's an ancestral response to eating. Um, and that's where I want to get my dopamine. Now, I don't want to get an overload of dopamine, like as if I was to go get some crumble cookie and be obsessed with the food that I'm eating and be obsessed with the flavor and all that. I want to eat to fuel my body, not eat to ease my mind or give myself a little shot of happiness mentally, you know. Um, but I don't want a dopamine overload because I'm eating good food and I'm also viewing something that's giving me dopamine. I want to just focus on the one thing, and that being eating. And enjoy my meals. Slow down the pace. And I actually had like a really good time just listening to a podcast today and eating. Now, I know it's going to get hard because I love to sit and watch a movie with my girlfriend and eat, but eating should be its own thing. It should be a activity that's at the forefront of your brain while you're engaging in it. It shouldn't be just a unconscious activity that you're just doing while you're watching something. I think that's when things get out of hand. Yeah. So those are the two new rules I put into play here. Besides just my ancestral eating, which with the exceptions of like sugar-free sauces and hot sauce, and liquid deaths. But I want to get back to the way we used to eat, with what I'm eating and how I'm eating. I just think it's foolish. Although I love it, I do think it's foolish to sit and watch videos or a movie or TV and that while you eat. I think eating's fun enough. Today, when I decided to make this change and I had my first meal without watching anything, I went through a pretty sizable bout of reading Crime and Punishment, and I was so engaged in that text. And then I decided to eat. And typically, when I would pull up a video or something to stimulate me while I ate, which we all do, and I mean, not to get sidetracked, but we all do that thing where you got a good meal in front of you and you're scrolling your fucking phone, you're like, what the fuck, or you're refreshing or on the computer or TV or whatever, trying to find a video that's suitable enough for the meal. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm so sick of that. I want to just be able to enjoy my meal. But back to what I was saying. So I got out of this bout of really deep focused work trying to digest this book. And I ate, and typically beforehand, before today, if I would eat and watch something, which also I'm making this on January 2nd. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but beforehand, I'd watch something, I'd eat, and it would take me extreme amounts of friction to re-engage in the text and to kind of get back to where I was mentally. Today, it was frictionless. I was able to just stop reading, set the book aside, get my food, sit down, eat my food, listen to a podcast, was done with my food, put my food right away, and my brain was still, firing. I wasn't like, watching a fucking video. So it was a lot easier for me to re-engage with the text and get back into the flow of reading, which was like so relieving because I almost dread eating because I know it. Sometimes I don't even get back to what I was doing, that deep mental work. And today I was able to just kind of fucking glide back into it. And it felt really good. I wasn't sluggish. And it's like you could eat a meal that isn't bad. Like a low carb meal, like nothing that's going to make me feel heavy. But just the fact that I was getting hit with so much visual stimulation, it slows my brain down and my brain becomes sluggish after the meal. So it has nothing to do with the actual food that I'm eating, but it's what I'm taking in mentally while I'm eating that would make the turnaround rate horrid to get back to reading or whatever mental endeavor I was in. That's why I'm going to allow puzzles. I'm going to allow reading if I want to eat, which I won't do that much just because I like to take notes in that while I'm reading. And I mean, once I get like halfway into a book and the book will stay open itself, I think I'll eat while I read, or read while I eat rather. But like right now, I have to hold the book the whole time open, and I don't want to like get my book dirty at all. So I just kind of kept the book away from my food, so there was no risk of that. Yeah, I think this is going to be hard. I don't think the swallowing the food before like preparing the next bite is going to be hard, but there's definitely days where mentally I'm just zapped, and I look at that like a mini vacation. Um, Sitting there and watching a video while eating. Um, and I look at it as a good bonding between me and my girlfriend, but that's kind of a bullshit bonding. What would be better bonding is just sitting, having a good meal together and talking, you know, than watching some movie or whatever. This year is about living deliberately. So this is going to have to be a change. And now I don't really know when I'm going to even watch videos, because like the only time I really watch videos is when I'm eating. So trying to figure that out when I could make that acceptable. Excuse me. These things make me burp like crazy, but they're delicious. Shout out Thoreau and shout out Walden. I think everybody should go read that. I really enjoyed it, and it inspired me. It inspired me a lot. It inspired me more than like, I'm trying to think. It's top 5 most directly inspirational books that I've read that like, wow, I actually want to change the way I'm living. And just realize how every day you wake up and you live so undeliberate. You use the bathroom, not to get too much information, but you use the bathroom, and it's like the bathroom should only take you about 5 minutes to use, and you're in there for 20 minutes because you're scrolling your phone, or people that I catch at traffic lights on their phone. I don't think it's like the devil. I think there's upsides to it, like doing cardio at the gym. That's a great time to use the phone, to watch a video. It ensures that you're getting the cardio in. I mean, imagine if we didn't have phones, how much easier it'd be to skip cardio. It would take a lot more willpower to get it done. But being able to prop the phone up and watch something, I mean, it makes it easy. But again, that's a perfect time. You're in the gym, you're alone, you're doing cardio. Why not throw up a video to waste the time, or to rather pass the time? But I think while you're home isn't a great time. While you have friends, family over, whatever it may be, sitting on the phone watching a video on that, especially when having a meal with your family, is borderline insanity. But we all do it, and I've done it multiple times. But I'm definitely trying to step away from that. And I don't want to be one of those people that like, the good times were the best times. I'm going to live like it's fucking the year 1815, But I think there's some good from back in the day. Obviously, there's some bad. But I think overall people were definitely not less stressed, but they had less of this anxiousness. I think our brains are just going too much, and we're releasing just way too much dopamine to the point where we're not recovering from it. And we're just like dopamine addicts, and we don't even realize we're dopamine addicts. And again, that living deliberately has just stuck with me, because there's so many people that go day in and day out, and they make no deliberate decisions at all. And I think you get freedom for making these deliberate decisions, choosing your life, choosing your decisions. Obviously, there's decisions that are made that you have to make that, are out of your control. Those are called responsibilities. But I also think you should make a responsibility to educate yourself and do things every day that make you happy. That's all from me today. Um, I will do a little, I will touch on a little bit here. It was so friggin' weird not uploading yesterday. Like, I went to my dad's and I was like, what the fuck? I don't have to upload today. And like, there was definitely a weight off my shoulders, but I was like weirded out. I'm like, what the? And not like having to film, but I filmed more yesterday than like I have in a while because I was like excited. I'm like, I have this breath of fresh air because I know I could film a lot more and I can make longer videos because I don't have to worry about editing them in such a short amount of time and getting them up. So I have this like freedom to me where I'm like, oh, I could film a fucking 10-hour long video if I wanted to because it doesn't have to be up today or tomorrow or the next day, whatever. I could upload it when I want to, or I could get it up this week. You know, there's not so much pressure to get the video on the internet. You know, I'm not going to keep saying get it up because that sounds super inappropriate. And, I'm not going to say there's so much pressure for me to get it up. That's crazy. But yeah, there's a freeness now. And I'm excited to film. Like I'm more excited than I have been in a couple months. All right. You guys know the drill. I will talk to you next time. Peace.